Hi lovely rubies, I hope you're well today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Belief Podcast. So I mentioned this in a previous episode. I don't know if it's going to be last week's one or the one before, but basically I'd really like to do more episodes on kind of creative skills and things like that, because I feel like mindset is very important, but I do want the podcast to kind of be a mixture of mindset and skills and creativity and things like that. So I thought today's topic, I could chat a little bit about confidence on stage. So I knew that I wanted to film an episode about confidence because confidence has been such a big issue for me. I've struggled with low confidence for probably a lot of my life. Definitely all my adult life and while I was a teenager. And I definitely think it's something that's kind of held me back in some ways. And I think when I can kind of tune into kind of better confidence, I can get so much more done, because it's not, I think a lot of the time it's really not lack of ability or skill, but we kind of can get in our own way and hold ourselves back by the belief in ourselves. So definitely something I've been working on is kind of, it's working on that. It's working on my confidence and that kind of belief in myself to do things. And it's been really, really helping. So I was umming and ahhing about kind of what to talk about. And then in the end, I kind of settled on confidence on stage, because I feel like that's something I'm quite good at. I think confidence in life and in general, not amazing. It's one of my bigger issues, but I feel like confidence on stage is something that I am pretty secure on. So I kind of thought I could chat about the reasons kind of why I think that is, and kind of how I've managed to tune into that confidence on stage. So this is this week's rambles with Hannah. And yeah, so I just kind of have a few points on my notebook written down, because I'm trying not to kind of script everything so much. I've got some headings, and I'll free talk about it, which is good and bad. It's more natural, but also it does open the door for rambling and kind of getting off topic when I get a bit nervous. So as I find probably in quite a few of these things, like the first thing that comes back to is that mindset. And for me personally, that's why it's so key. For me, I like daily, I feed my mind with positivity and inspiration and encouragement. It's been really, really crucial for me. I feel as important to be honest, if not more than like exercising, because I think for me personally, so much of things come back to mindset and like lack of confidence. I feel like it's kind of training myself to actually view things a little bit differently, and kind of inspire me and lift me up and be like, yes, you can do these things. So yeah, really mindset and kind of getting into a place of like, I can do this. I am worthy, I'm good enough. Because if you can start from that positive place, I think everything is a lot easier. And also a really big one, I think, of having confidence on stage is experience. So I feel like I've got more confident as the years have gone on. When I first started performing, I wasn't confident at all. Like it took a while to build. I used to be very nervous about performing. I feel like nowadays I don't really get so nervous, apart from when I've had a break for a while, or it's kind of out of my comfort zone. So like when we did our first gig as our 80s band, I was a bit nervous for that, because I'd been so used to performing on my own for years, that being in a band was a new thing. But I soon adjusted, and now I feel much more confident. So I think experience is a really key one. I think getting out there and playing as much as you can. Open mics are really, really great for that. If you listen to my last episode, you know I'm a big champion for open mics. That's really helped me grow my confidence in terms of playing. making new friends. And it's also like a really great place where you can try out new songs and kind of see how they go down without that like fear. Because I feel like when you're playing a gig, especially maybe a paid gig, it can be like, there can sometimes be that pressure of like getting it right, even though I feel like that's self-imposed pressure. So I feel like just open mics is a really kind of low-key way of like, oh, I can try out these new songs and kind of see how they go and practice them. And, you know, especially songs that like maybe are a bit outside of your comfort zone, they're pushing you a bit, and you kind of practice loads in your room, but then you go out and perform in front of people, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, so it can kind of help get some of those nerves out of the way. So yeah, just building experience. I think the more gigs you do too, like the more confident you'll get, because you're used to playing in front of people. I think, again, knowing your set list through and through, or like knowing the songs that you're doing, is equally as important. If you know the songs you're doing like the back of your hand, you can play them with your eyes shut, you're gonna have a lot of confidence, and that's gonna help too, because once you're kind of comfortable with a song, you can kind of put your own spin on it and change it up and things, and that, you know, that's really great. Like my mum always says, when I perform Jolene, I do it differently every time, because it's a song I know so well. I feel comfortable being able to change it up. I know like where I can push the limits with the song and do different things and things like that. So yeah, I think knowing your set through and through is really going to help. I think as well, if you know you've got backups, so like I try and have backups of as many things as I possibly can. So I have 2 guitar leads, 2 mic leads, 2 microphones, I've got 2 capos. Like, if you know if something breaks, you've got a backup, that is going to help you feel a lot more comfortable and secure, because at least it's like, right, I know if something goes wrong with this microphone, I'm good. And on a similar vein as well, like I always test my PA and my equipment before I go to a gig, just to double check it's all good, because in the past maybe I've gone, oh yeah, it was fine the other day, and then I've turned up and I've had a problem with it, like a fuse has gone or something. It's like panic, and then when you're starting from that place of panic, it's not impossible, but it can be very difficult to kind of get yourself back to that calm place of like, yes, I'm in performer mode. So I think kind of knowing like, no, I'm all good, I've got backups, I've tested my gear. You know, don't get me wrong, like unexpected things can still go wrong, but there is that confidence in knowing like, I'm good, I know my set, I've done this set a load of times, I've done different gigs, you know, maybe I've even played this venue before, I've tested my equipment, I've got my backups, there's confidence in that, you know. And also when you've got support there, that really helps too. Like my mum comes to most of my gigs, she's brilliant, and she'll be there right at the front cheering, and like that's really great. And I mean, she's probably heard like all the songs I do like 50 million times, but it doesn't matter, because she's like, yes, you go, Han. Now of course not everyone can come to every gig, but if there's a particular gig that you know, like, right, I'd really like some support at, you can mention it to like your friends and family, go, I'd really love it if you could be at this gig and come and support me, so they can put it in their calendar. I think as well, like, what can be helpful is if, this kind of goes into like the branding and like marketing side of it, but like if you can set up like a Facebook event, or just like really make it clear, like, I'm performing at this place at this time, you're more likely to get people to come, because they're like, oh, okay, like I've seen that pop up, I've had plenty of notice, like, cool. So this last one isn't mandatory, especially if you're a beginner, but it's something that's really helped me, and that's branding. Like, branding is something that I really love. I feel like it's something I'm quite good at, and for me personally as well, I always like struggle to try and describe it, but like, I feel like Hannah Ruby is kind of an extension of me that's kind of slightly removed from myself. So I feel like she's kind of like a more confident version of me, like me, like sound like I'm gonna start singing now. Like, I don't feel like a very confident person, and I feel like there's something quite great about the fact that I'm like, I've got a very specific look and outfits and makeup that I do for Hannah Ruby. And I feel like I can kind of put those things on and step in to that more confident version of myself. So it's kind of like, it's performing at the end of the day, you know, it's still me, but it's kind of removed from me. So I feel like I've got that permission to be that more confident version of me, if that makes sense. So I don't know, maybe that's something that might help you. Maybe even if you're not, you know, don't go the whole hog of the whole outfit and stuff like I do. Maybe like there's a particular hat you put on to make you feel confident, or a particular t-shirt, or maybe like me, you've got particular lipstick that makes me feel good. Like when I first started, I didn't have the whole outfit. I just had the red lipstick, and the red lipstick was like, this is like, that makes me feel confident. That makes me feel like, okay, let's go, you know? So I think there's something quite nice about that, because it's like, I can kind of step into sort of someone, you know, I can step into like another side of myself, and kind of be like acting in a way, because I don't feel that confident off stage at all. But I know, well, I'm Hannah Ruby, I can be confident, that's fine. Hannah Ruby has no problem asking people to follow her on social media, go follow me at hannahrubymusic. Whereas, you know, I've got better at it, but I would definitely feel more awkward going, oh, do you want to follow me? Like, I have got better at it, but it's something that I struggle more with. Hannah Ruby, again, no problem giving out business cards. Like that's super easy when I've got the Hannah Ruby outfit on, because I'm like, this is who I am. So yeah, those are just a couple of my thoughts about confidence on stage and the things that help me. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've kind of missed. I think that's kind of the main things for the minute. And again, this doesn't like just apply to musicians. Like maybe you have a speaking gig, or you give presentations, or you're a comedian or a poet, or whatever it may be. Hopefully maybe there's some things here that might help, some tips that might help. I'd love to know your thoughts. Yeah, please give me a follow on, and feel free to send me a message on my socials. I'm at hannahrubymusic. And if you really like this, the advice and things that I give in the Believe podcast, I feel like you'd really like my Ruby Music Academy socials. At the moment, I'm working on some things with that. I'm currently working on a course where I can go kind of more in depth with some of these topics. So yeah, it's a space for musicians and creative entrepreneurs to get tips about mindset and skills and things like that. So hopefully you find that helpful. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Bye, Rubies.